Did you know? 90% of people who buy apples at the supermarket choose the wrong ones. From the outside, all the fruits look shiny and bright red, but with just one simple step, you will immediately know which ones are crispy and sweet, which ones are bland. In this video, I will reveal the way to choose apples that real farmers still use. No need to squeeze, no need to bite, just look and you will know. Watch the whole thing, or else next time you will waste money on a bag of apples that are pretty but bland as water. Tip 1. Look at the color of the apple skin to know the difference. When choosing apples, the first thing we should pay attention to is the color of the apple skin. This is an easy and familiar sign. Still look at the outside to choose, but this is the right way. Apple skin contains quercetin, an antioxidant that helps reduce inflammation, boost the immune system, and prevent cancer. When shopping for apples, look for apples with red and yellow skins, uneven color, and patchy patches that look like they've been painted by sunlight. These are signs of naturally ripe, juicy, and sweet apples. On the other hand, apples with evenly red skins from top to bottom, and a glossy sheen like they've been lacquered, beware. These may be apples that have been chemically treated, colored, or dyed. Not only are they less tasty, they can also pose health risks. When eating, don't peel the apple unless necessary, since the skin contains more than 50% of the apple's antioxidants and fiber. Here's a tip for safely enjoying the apple skin. Wash the skin with diluted salt water or apple cider vinegar to remove any wax or pesticides left on the skin. That way, you can enjoy the whole apple with peace of mind. Remember, when picking apples, you don't need the skin to be the perfect color. The more natural, the better. Don't just pick apples that look pretty. Choose those that are actually suitable for sweet and healthy fruit for your family. Tip 2. Look for stripes on the apple skin. One of the simplest but most overlooked ways is to look for vertical stripes on the apple skin. In fact, many people are attracted to apples with smooth, shiny skin. They may look pretty, but they don't always taste good. A delicious, sweet, and crunchy apple is usually one with distinct red and yellow stripes. These stripes are a sign that the apple has ripened naturally in the sunlight without chemical treatment, so it retains its mild, sweet flavor, crunchy texture, and plenty of juice. Not only are striped apples delicious, they are also rich in pectin, a soluble fiber that aids digestion, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and lowers bad cholesterol, LDL, which is especially good for older adults. On the other hand, apples with smooth, shiny, and evenly colored skins may look beautiful, but they are often covered in wax or have not been exposed to enough sunlight. As a result, they taste bland, have less juice, and do not deliver the rich flavor you expect. So don't rush to pick the most sexy-looking apples. Look for apples with natural red and yellow stripes. Despite their rough appearance, they are sweet and nutritious inside, delicious and good for the whole family. Tip 3. Feel the apple skin with your hands. Now is the time to use your skillful hands to pick a delicious apple by gently feeling the skin. Apples with slightly rough skin, not too smooth, are usually fully ripened in the sun, which helps them accumulate more natural sugars, making them sweeter, more flavorful, and crispier. On the other hand, if the skin is too smooth and shiny, it may be sour or bland and less juicy. These apples are often chosen for their appearance rather than their flavor. Also, avoid apples with dark spots or irregular rough patches, as this is a sign that the fruit has been bruised or is starting to spoil. They will not keep well and may even affect the quality inside. With just a light touch, you can choose a sweet, nutritious, and healthy apple. Tip 4. Look at the stem of the apple to check for freshness. The next thing to keep in mind when choosing a good apple is whether the apple is fresh. When buying apples, you should look at the stem of the fruit. This is the part that connects the apple to the branch. where nutrients are transferred from the branch to the fruit. If the stem is still light green and looks fresh, it means that the apple was recently picked and still retains its crispness, juiciness, and natural sweetness. On the other hand, if the stem is turned yellow or dark brown, it is likely that the apple has been there for a while, losing moisture, becoming less crisp, and less flavorful. Eating apples can help with weight control thanks to their high fiber content and low calories. Apples keep you fuller for longer, making them a good fit for a healthy diet and weight loss. Imagine cutting into a plate of apples and taking the first bite, only to find it mushy and bland. How disappointing would that be? So, remember to take a quick look at the stem to choose a fresh, sweet, and delicious apple. Tip 5. Check the apple's navel. Besides the skin and the freshness of the stem, there is another small detail that is worth paying attention to: the navel at the bottom of the apple. At first glance, it may not seem important, but in fact, it reveals a lot about the flavor and quality of the apple inside. If the navel is small and shallow, it is what growers jokingly call a male apple. These apples tend to have firmer flesh, less water, and a slightly sour taste, perfect if you like crisp, dense apples. On the other hand, if the navel is large and deeply concave, it is a female apple. This type is usually rounder, has more water in the flesh, and is much sweeter in taste. This is a favorite of many people because it gives a cool, pleasant feeling when eaten. So when picking apples, don't forget to gently turn the bottom over and look for ones with a large, deep navel. This is a sure sign of a sweet, juicy apple that also nourishes your body. Tip 6. Weigh your hands to feel the sweetness. The final way to pick a good apple is to weigh your hands. When holding two apples of similar size, choose the one that feels heavier. The heavier the apple, the higher the water content, which means the flesh will be juicier, crisper, and sweeter. On the other hand, if the apple feels lighter, it may be due to moisture loss during storage. Inside, the apple will be dry and mushy, not as tasty. You can also bring the apple closer and smell it gently. Fresh, perfectly ripe apples usually have a light, pleasant aroma. If the smell is too strong, with a hint of fermentation, it is likely that the apple is overripe and will not last long, so only buy it if you plan to eat it that same day. As promised at the beginning of the video, I'm going to show you the secret I learned from my grandmother to keep apples fresh for weeks. Start by sorting through your apples and removing any that are bruised or damaged. One bad apple can really ruin the whole bunch. Wrap each apple individually in paper towels or newspaper to absorb excess moisture. Then store them in a perforated plastic bag or a breathable container in the refrigerator's crisper drawer. Make sure to keep apples away from other fruits like bananas, as bananas release ethylene gas, which can cause apples to ripen and spoil faster. This simple method works wonders for preserving the flavor and texture of apples. With just a few tips, we can confidently choose sweet, juicy apples that are actually good for the health of the whole family. But don't stop there. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's absolutely true. Because many nutrients in apples not only help digestion easier, but also gently support weight loss, naturally beautify the skin, and help protect a healthy heart, something we all care about, especially women over 45. I hope these tips bring you more joy and confidence. Which tip do you like best? Try it today and share the results with me in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. If you want to receive more great tips like this, leave the keyword "I like it" in the comment. I will send you an exclusive document about kitchen tips. Let's make our lives easier together.